Welcome to Real Life Investing today. This is Al going to be talking to you today about Quant and why Quant could become the operating system for tokenized finance. But remember, whatever we say on the channel is not financial advice. However, if you like what you see today, we just ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. We are growing and we just ask that you grow with us. We very much appreciate you guys, very much so. Now, let's go ahead and look a little bit and talk about the information that we have at hand. One of the things we want to understand is that everybody's talking about Bitcoin and AI, but some analysts believe that the biggest opportunity could be the infrastructure powering tokenized finance. If trillions of dollars move into blockchains, Quant might be one of the companies that's connecting it all. One of the things we got to see that right now we have $16 trillion tokenization opportunity on our hands here. And so, but let's make sure we're going to discuss the predictions from major financial institutions regarding tokenized assets and digital finance. One of the things I will say is that many items are moving towards tokenized finance. A lot of big players in the game that are on board. And so, whether we're looking at real estate, whether we're looking at stocks, bonds, other assets, I mean, we're at a point where we're not able to go backwards. We're only going to be able to go forwards. So, therefore, tokenized finance is going to be a part of life, whether we like it or not, and whether we get on board or not. So, just a little bit of a heads up on that before we jump in. Now, let's just go ahead and look at Quant right now. It's doing pretty well, up 3%. And let's see, for the week, Quant is up 1%. For the month, let's see what's up with Quant. Quant is down 12% over the month. And for the year, Quant is down 35%. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that we have a bear market right now and we're dealing with the items that we're dealing with, Quant's been doing pretty doggone well. And as I've said in the past, Quant, if you look at the charts over the last 10 and 5 years, you will see that Quant has been doing better than Bitcoin. So therefore, Quant has been consistent. It's been steady, and that's one of the things we have to understand. But let's go ahead and start moving a little bit more. Look at the total market here. Market's at what, 2.2 trillion. Fear and greed is at 21. Not the greatest, but at the same time, it was a lot more fearful. Bitcoin looks like it's at what, 64,000. So just a little bit of a heads up on that as well. Let's go to Bitcoin dominance right now. Bitcoin dominance is going to be at 58.7%. Ethereum at 9.2%, and the others appear to be rising because they're now at 32%. So just a little bit of a heads up on that. Let's keep it moving a little bit. Now, let's go to X site, formerly known as Twitter, and start looking at a little bit of information that we have here. Infrastructure of money built on Overledger. So talking about our good friend Quant. Now, let's go ahead and look a little bit. This is very recent from Quant. This is a post. Says crypto brought the first 1% of finance on chain. Quant Fusion is built for the other 99%. The technology has been proven for years. What was missing was infrastructure that regulated institutions could actually use. That changes now. So looking at Quant, great opportunities here. Let's see what else we want to talk about here. All right, so right here, bringing the other 99% on chain. Why financial services runs on Fusion. This is from the Quant website itself. Just a little bit of a heads up on that. So make sure if you get a chance to go to the Quant website. This is from the blog there, and this is from June the 10th. But let's just talk about a little bit more about Quant before we just jump into some of these things. Don't forget about Quant Overledger that brings all of your cryptos as far as your cryptocurrencies together and your blockchains, etc., which creates that interoperability, the multi-chain communication that occurs because of Quant, and the enterprise use cases. And so just a little bit of a heads up on guys. We know that some great things are on the way. But let's go down here a little bit, look at this article. Bringing the other 99% on chain, why financial services runs on Fusion, Quant Fusion, that is, right? So this is from the network itself. So it says that is not a slogan. It describes a real gap between what public blockchains have proved is possible and what regulated financial services needs to operate. For more than a decade, the industry has watched blockchain technology demonstrate something genuinely new: programmable assets, atomic settlement, transparent state, global reach. Almost none of it has made it into the systems that move the world's money. The potential was clear. The infrastructure to act on it was not. So, in other words, the infrastructure to act on it was not. Therefore, Quant's infrastructure is what is needed. I think that's kind of obvious at this particular point. So let's just go ahead and look at the information that we're dealing with there. I'm not going to be able to read the whole article because we want a limited video, but right here it talks about the layer one ceiling, etc. And then it gives you a nice little explanation of Quant Fusion if you want to read that in more detail. So many of us already know that it's a multi-ledger, a roll-up layer 2.5. In other words, how it brings all the other blockchains together, and therefore the word fusion. Quant is very powerful in that point. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to be able to read all that. Where this sits relative to what the institutions already track. Let's see, go all of financial services, one fabric. And that one fabric, of course, is Quant. So, guys, this is the moment. Says three things have changed at once. I'm going to read this a little bit. Says the three things that have changed and why this is the moment. Tokenized money is no longer a pilot. Stablecoins move meaningful volume. Tokenized deposits are in production at tier one banks. Regulatory frameworks are taking shape across major jurisdictions. The assets that need to move cross chain now actually exist. All right. Second thing, standards have arrived finally. Hopefully in America we'll get some standards here as well. Says standards. Australia's proposal to the ISO for a blockchain interoperability standard was approved in September 2016 regarding TC 307. After nearly a decade of technical work across terminology, reference architecture, and cross-chain interoperability, the standard has been published. Cross-chain finance can now be built to a specification and tested against it rather than improvised. Interoperability is no longer just a vendor's claim, but instead something you can verify. So also Quant is live on Quant Connect. What institutions were waiting for is no longer a roadmap. In other words, we got you covered. All right, moving on a little bit. Let's go ahead a little bit. And what do the banks actually need? And what do the banks actually cover here? So, trusted by central banks and global financial institutions. This is also on the Quant website. What we're covering here is CBDCs, cross-border settlement, legacy banking systems, and regulatory requirements. So, one of the things we got to understand. Let's go down a little bit. Notice right here you have your UK finance. You have your euro, talking about how Quant has worked on the digital pound, the digital euro, the UK RLN, and the Great British tokenized deposits. In other words, tokenization, right? So who did Quant serve? We know that Quant serves corporations, the banks, and also the capital markets. Let's read a little bit about the banks and let's keep it moving. Quant Flow is the money engine powering the future of programmable money, transforming digital banking, right? Customizing cash management and unlocking new revenue. So keep this in mind as we look forward to Quant here. Says lead with innovation, elevate customer experiences, and future-proof financial products with the trusted leader in programmable money. So just a little bit of a heads up on that. This is what's happening. So we want to look at why we have such a strong case for Quant. First of all, we have the scarcity of Quant. Let's go back to our beginning page here. Noticing right here that your circulating supply of Quant is 12 million, no more. right? One of the things we have to understand is that quant is more scarce than Bitcoin. So therefore, when you have scarcity, you will eventually see the value and the pricing go up. So law of economics pretty much there, supply and demand. So just a heads up on that part. We have enterprise adoption, and then we see that in many parts. And we've done a lot of videos talking about how the quant is moving throughout Japan, North America, Europe, the adoption, etc., the great things that are occurring. Let's see, what else are we looking at? Infrastructure narrative, yes. And also RWA growth. So a lot of real world assets are now developed on quant. So guys, one of the things we want to keep in mind, and let me wrap this video up, but in the end, quant doesn't need to become the next Ethereum. It only needs to become the bridge connecting the financial networks of the future. Every crypto has its utility, and that is quant's utility right there. So, so the reason why, let's wrap this baby up. Quant could become an operating system for tokenized finance. We got that tokenization trend, which is a huge trend. We got institutional adoption that is developing. Clear problem solution narrative that quant definitely meets, and says long-term relevance, which is something that will remain as far as tokenized items and tokenized assets, and a strong appeal to both crypto investors and financial traditional advocates. Just saying, traditional finance advocates. Let me say it like that. So, guys, quant's a winner. We already know it. Main thing is we just got to hold through this bear market and keep the good stuff. I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna wait. I'm really, how can I say? Like many of you, I'm like, when this thing's going to stop, you know what I mean? A little bit of frustration, but at the same time, the markets are turning around. Make sure that you hold on to some quality cryptocurrency like quant. Have a good day. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Please share, like, comment, and subscribe to Real Life Investing. And thank you for watching.